What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Zulu podcast. Yeah, weird. Going over another MCPON letter tonight. Yay. Silent share, like my son says. I like it. Yo, so, we went live last time and we talked about his initial season letter, right? So he dropped the first one. And, the first one, the subject is character. So we're going to get into this. We're going to read about what the MCPON says about character, and just kind of review it, talk about it a little bit. I've read it. I just read it right now again for like the third time. Lots of good things about it. I really like these letters a lot more than I liked the call to action ones, right? I don't agree with everything in the same sense that I think he's trying to say it, but I do like these letters quite a bit more. So let's just jump right into it. Let's try to make this quick and easy. Okay, here we go. Technical character. 1, technical competency alone does not make a great chief petty officer. Character is equally important. As performance can be measured, so can character development. It is my expectation that personal character development and technical proficiency be the two attributes we seek in order to advance our culture within the Chiefs mess. So straight out of the gate, nothing to disagree with here, right? I think that's a good take right there when it comes to. I'm sorry, I got WD-40 that up a little bit. I think when it comes to what we should have in the Chiefs mess, right? Technical competency was talked a lot about in the call to action, and now he's following up with this season. These are season letters are to be discussed in the Chiefs mess with selectees. As a discussion point, not as a training point or anything, right? So if you're a junior sailor out there, right, again, a great opportunity to talk. If you're a chief or any khaki or you're anyone, a great opportunity to talk about these things with your peers, your seniors, your juniors, right? It's all good, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to talk about character and how character is an important part of being a good service member, not just a chief, but a good sailor, good service member of any branch, right? So, pairing it with the technical competency, it's good to go, right? One thing I call to question here, right, is like as performance can be measured, so can character development, right? Like, question mark, how do we, because when you say that can be measured, I immediately think like, well, if that's a trait block, a MVGP on your chief eval, and it says things in there, right? Like, go read the eval. It says how it's measuring it. But, like, how do we truly measure character development? If you are of good character to begin with, like, what are we asking for from you to have better character? And maybe, next time I'll pull up the MVGPs and talk about those. Not. But it's just, it's a question mark thing I have in there just up to, like, performance of like your technical expertise and how you lead your sailors. I think that's a lot more measurable item there than just character development, unless you're a piece of shit and then you learn to not be a piece of shit, right? Then I can understand that. Okay, so like I said, 2 attributes we seek in order to advance our culture within the Chiefs mess. All right, cool. So I think that should hit home right there. All right, 2, Chiefs of character model humility, genuineness. This is their strength. They show empathy and are authentic in how they lead. They foster an environment of respect, coaching, trigger word because like that's what the Navy's not doing mentoring anymore. They're doing coaching, right? I have my own fucking shit about that. Okay. Encouragement, continuous learning, and self-motivation. They have the courage to be honest, humble, I'm sorry, my eyes are tweaking, and transparent about individual or team performance. They hold their sailors accountable. They are their own toughest critic in setting a personal example, and they hold themselves accountable as well. Okay. Again, for me, not too much. I got some like chiefs of humility and genuineness. I have a big problem with humility, or so I've been told by everyone that doesn't like me. Okay, by people that know me, right, genuinely know me. I don't think they would agree that I have a problem with humility. They might say something like, as you've heard my boy Nick on here, right? Like, even his mama said that he had a problem with it, right? But like, I guess it's more not that we are not humble, people like him. I guess it's just speaking for myself and maybe Nick too. Nick, let me know what you think. But like, I think people have a problem understanding how our humility is displayed. And when you're going through the Chiefs season, and partly like I was gonna make this video anyways, but someone left a comment either on Facebook or YouTube asking if I was going to make a video giving some advice to new selects. And really, so this is partly that, but also partly like I don't think I'm that dude that should be out there making a video to post up here on YouTube telling Chief selection around the world or something like, hey, you know, this is here's the advice that's going to get you through the season, right? A lot of other Chiefs disagree with the advice that I give. A lot of other Chiefs don't think that I'm giving the right advice. For some reason, though, I continue to be picked even when I decline to sponsor Chief Selects, right? Got another Chief Select this time? Cool. I'm all for it. Cool. Like, I didn't want to, but they asked me, hey, we need you to do this. And if I'm asked, I always step up, right? If I'm not asked, then I'm just going to take a back seat. I'm going to let some other people do it, some of the younger cats, let them get their feet wet, right? Let them eat at the table. I've ate at the table, okay? But so in my display of my humility, people don't agree. They don't like it. They don't agree with it. They don't think it's genuine, okay? For me, though, it's just like, well, most of the time you've not really gotten to know me. We've not had a sit down across from this table or any table to break bread and get to know each other. But I don't have the problem with you. You have the problem with me. So you should probably try to figure out why it is you have that problem, right? So, you know, I do believe it is strength, right? Like their character model, humility and genuineness, right? I lean more on the genuineness because I think if people get sailors nowadays, people, it don't matter, can tell when you're being like that fake humble, right? Or as I've covered way earlier in this podcast, like the humble brag, right? Where you're bragging about how humble and your humility and like, oh yeah, you know, I told them no, I wouldn't take it. And it's a story that you tell all the time. Like, motherfucker, if you tell them that story about how humble you were all the time, you're not humble, okay? They show empathy and are authentic in how they lead. Again, so empathy, awesome trait to have, right? To be able to relate those things with your juniors, with peers, with seniors, right? But then when we get back, I think I just have this, like, for some people, like when they say genuine, they say authentic. And then when you are authentic, when you are genuine, right, they have a problem with that. And they think that is counter to humility and humbleness. So it's kind of like, well, what do you want? Do you want me to be humble, right? And just never talk, never be myself? Because that, in your eyes, that's what humility is, right? But then that's not genuine and that's not authentic to who I am, right? For instance, someone said today, why do we call it the goat locker or something? Or why do we got the nickname the goat? And I say, because I'm the fucking, the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. Greatest of all time, Chief, right? That's me, right? I said just like that, because I'm, yeah. And then one of my boys turned around and said, I knew you're fucking going to say you fucking fucker, right? And I laughed. But that's my authentic, genuine self, right? And if you know me, then you know it's a half-ass sly remark, right? Do I believe that I really am? No. Do I believe that I show up every day to try to be? Yes, because I think everyone should, right? And there goes, you know, I could go down a lot of rabbit holes of sea stories about that, right? But it's like people have a problem when you want to be the best and they don't, right? And when you voice to people that you want your team to be the best, then they think of that not being humble. Oh, you're not humble. You're always talking about being the best. You're always talking about supply department being the best, right? I want my team to have that attitude that they can walk around and lead sailors when they're putting on khakis to be the best, that they know how to be the best. And I want them to talk that shit if they are. And if they're not and they take a L, then guess what? Then they have to, like, that's part of that, like, you know, fucking boom, there's your humility. Can you do it? Can you take that L? Can you hold it? right? Yeah, I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna put a big ass L on a gold chain. I'm gonna fucking rock around with that bitch right there too, let you know I'm holding this L. And you're thinking, yeah, you're not humble. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, would you walk around with a gold chain that rocking the L when you carrying it when it was served to you? Why? Why not? You're not humble enough to hold that L. So I'll flip it on you, okay? Authentic in how they lead, right? Different leadership styles, different that, right? Blah blah blah. Well, again, authenticity, man. Young bucks they see right through all the bullshit nowadays. And again, I've said this before. Back in the day, I'd like to think I could, right? But like, it seems like every new generation of sailor, that veil gets thinner and thinner, and they know, right? They fucking know. So you can't fake the funk. You can't fake the humility, and you can't fake trying to be something you're not. Okay, so like, say if that's not you, man. You know, they foster an environment of respect, coaching. All right, so the continuous learning. Again, I've covered that before. Like, continuous learning in what? Like, damn, I there's only so many books I could read, and that's about all of them for the year already. Self-motivation, duh. Right, like what leader or sailor or any military service member anywhere, like, you're not looking for self-motivated people that find the work and get the work done without being told or asked, right? Especially if they've been around the game for a while, right? Like, come on. They have the courage to be honest, humble, and transparent about individual or team performance. Again, so going back to what I just said, right? Like, transparent about individual, like, oh, look, you call me and say I'm fucked up? Cool. I'm just going to smile and laugh at you and be like, okay, so what? It don't hurt my feelings. I think that's something people expect is like, because if I call you out that you're fucked up, that's your team fucks them up, you did, your LPO did, right? Your department division, they didn't do something. People take it so personal, like it's an attack on them, instead of just taking it as like, yeah, we fucked up. Okay, so I'll get unfucked and I'll get it back to you. I don't take none of this shit personal, man. This ain't mine. Right? Is like, again, you don't want to hear it, but it's just the uniform I put on for the day to go get the job done, to go kick ass at it and everything. But like, it's not mine. I'm not the owner of the U.S. Navy. I'm not the owner of the Chiefs Mess, right? Taxpayers are. So I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do the damn thing, right? And I'm gonna be honest and transparent about that individual or team performance. If we suck today, right? I've told my cooks before, hey, man, like, that wasn't the best meal you put out today. That shit sucked. Do better. I don't need to say a lot, right? I've been told, hey, yeah, you've sucked today. Okay. What do you want me to do? Boo-hoo about it? Go, if you telling me I sucked, I probably know why I fucking sucked today. I hope you, as any kind of competent person in any job, if you're being told why that you suck today, you can quickly understand why. If it has to be broken down and explained to you, what you doing here, man? What you doing here, right? Again, so it goes, courage to be honest. Okay. Humble. Again, they say humble again. Like, I'm a person that, how many times do you say humble and humility in this, right? Like, I can only take so many. Excuse me. I'm parched today. To have the courage to be honest. A lot of people don't have the courage to be honest, right? A lot of chiefs don't have the courage to be honest about whatever they talking about in that moment, right? You could tell when someone asks something and the room sit there quiet, and you look around, and be like, ain't none of y'all gonna fucking say nothing? All right, I'll say something then. I'm gonna be. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Right? If someone's asking me a question, right, and they want an honest answer, I'm gonna give it to them. They're the ones that asked. I'm not saying like, oh, you can't do nothing to me. That's not what I'm saying. Yo, listen. All right. I'm saying, if you're asked a question, you should not be scared to give honest feedback to whoever's asking that question. Yes, you fucked up. Yes, that's a fucking problem. Right? It just, give the honest answer. I was going to give a C story, but I probably shouldn't. Catch me offline. I'll talk to you about it. If you leave me a comment on YouTube, go over there, leave me a comment, ask me, hey, what's that story you're going to talk about honesty? I'll tell you. All right. They hold their sailors accountable, of course. right? But again, we're not honest enough. We lie to ourselves, we lie to our sailors, and then we don't hold them accountable because we're too busy being friendly instead of fucking holding them accountable. Holding them accountable does not mean always counseling shit. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you got to do enough of them to get the paperwork trail going and send them up. Other times it just when you know your sailors, you know what you got to say and to do to hold them accountable. Where it gets them going like, oh fuck yeah, I fucked up. All right, and let me get back on it. Okay, they're their own toughest critic in setting a personal example, and they hold themselves accountable as well. All right, cool. So a lot of this is just kind of like, to me, it's good not because it's great, but just because it's like it's if this is character and this is for the Chiefs elects and this for us genuine Chiefs to sit down with them and have this conversation, this is like a good groundwork discussion, right? To have with them. Again, like I'll go back to, it's a good groundwork discussion to have with your junior sailors, with your LPO, E5, E6, E4, E4 Mafia. Read it if you care. If you're thinking you think you're gonna make a career of it, read this, and every time it says Chief, just take Chief out and put E4 Mafia. Okay. Holding yourself accountable, I think that's the toughest one, because you can sit there in the mirror and be like, oh, and yell at yourself or something. But like, how do you hold yourself accountable? Like you would one of your sailors, right? Again, you could give them counseling, you could do different things, but how do you do it for yourself? Can you just beat yourself and like, oh gosh, darn, I fucked up. Come on, damn it, Brett. You can't be doing that, buddy. And I'm figuratively Brett that time, right? Like how do you hold yourself accountable? We need to hold each other accountable for sure, and tell each other, hey, you fucked that up. I'm all for that. I love that. Those are like my favorite words, and they should be said more often, and they should not be taken personal, right? All right, here we go. Number 3, chiefs of character are empowered by their leadership role and take action. Again, like, duh. Like, how would you be a chief and not be empowered by that? Like, have you not been wanting to do this your whole career, however long or short that is? And that's what trips me out, is the ones that come in, they make it. I kind of understand if they make it like really fast, about how like being over empowered can kind of hurt them and harm them, right? And they kind of need to ease into that role. But like, if you make it right on time, which to me is around like that 13 to 15 year mark, right? Like you should have been waiting for those fucking anchors, right? You should have been waiting for them. Like they're mine. I'm just waiting, right? I've got everything. I'm doing everything I need to. It's a matter of time. It's inevitable, like Thanos, right? And then when you get it, you're like, yes, I am here. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've needed to be able to be my full potential, and then fucking go for it. But instead, so much what you see is like, oh, well, I don't, like, you can't make a fucking decision for yourself. You can't make a decision as a chief, as a leader, right? There's just that empowerment is missing so many times. Even like we're talking about first year, second years, third years, right? It's like, because like it's that take action. It's that second part. They're empowered by it and they take action. There's people out there not taking action. There's selects out there not taking action. Like, what are you doing? Did you not want this? Have you not been waiting for it? It's yours now, and you're not taking action? It's a real head scratcher. Back to it. Let's see. They have the courage to stand up for what is right, even if there are personal consequences. Another big, a big failure. That's why I like these more than the call to action ones, because I think this calls us out more than those call to action ones, right? And I think I've mentioned this in one of those previous videos about like Chiefs, khakis in general, Chiefs especially, because that's what my main. I'm not concerned about the weird room, right? I want to train them, but like that's not. We can train them, yes, that's our job, but that is not my lane to be swimming in. Okay, like my lane is Chiefs mess, and so many, right? So many are so scared of the personal consequences of when they're going to make a decision or what decision they're making that there is either indecision or the wrong decision. Okay. And there's nothing more painful than watching other chiefs, right? Because it's their decision to make. You can't go and do everyone's fucking job for them. Okay. And you just watch them say like the absolute wrong thing. You just sit there scratching your head going, how the fuck did you even come up with the answer that you just said? Take me through those steps, please, because it makes no fucking sense how you would get 2 + 2 is -1. And they really do try to explain it. They do. On all their mind, they were absolutely right. And it's crazy. And again, it goes back to because they were scared that if they said it was actually 4, that someone else might tell them no, it's -1. So they just want, because they know that's what that person wants to hear, right? Like it's the personal consequences. Oh, you know, I might get in trouble. There's a bad, oh, man. They're so scared of getting bad evals. They're so scared that they won't be a EP. Chiefs are, yes, talking to y'all, talking to us, talking to juniors out there that, like, it is true. They're scared that they won't get a good eval, so they can't promote to senior chief because, you know, I've said it before. Yeah, they want more money. They want to take better care of the family. Cool. Nothing wrong with that. But in my humble opinion, if you weren't so worried about that and you were more worried about the mission and your sailors, everyone would eat and then you would eat, right? Like, we don't need to eat first. We can eat last, right? Because when we eat last, everyone's already eating, and we still gonna get what's coming to us. Like, it's just dumb, man. For real. So many people are truly, truly scared of personal consequences. They know their actual capabilities and limitations, yeah, and are committed to self-improvement. Okay. Again, like, some of that stuff is just like, you know, knowing your lateral limits, right? Cool, right? Your capes and limbs, as people like to say it out there, right? Cool. But committed to the self-improvement, like, I think that's just a tack on, right? Let's tack that on there to be sure that, you know, that we cover that fucking, you know, basic triggered, you know, responses there, right? Because whatever, like, it's one of those, like, you should know your capes and limbs, right? Don't fucking get out of them, but improve them. And that might sound like self-improvement, but, like, I don't need to, like, you know, read a self-improvement book, right? Like, it's okay knowing your capes and limbs, right? Knowing your lateral limits and staying within those, okay? Because sometimes when you expand those lateral limits, like, that's what's going to get you out in some trouble, right? When you start thinking, oh, no, I could do that because I'm self-improving, so that means I'm going to go become the fucking junior officer deck or OD or something. Okay, just because you can do it and you can get qualified doesn't mean that is necessarily what we need you doing. That is not, to me, a self-improvement, right? Just because it made your lane bigger. You know what I'm saying? Because your root job is still suffering. So how about we get back to that, right? So kind of widening that lane just lets more shit get in that lane. Why don't we narrow that lane up to what a chief should be fucking doing and then be the best at that, right? They are how their leadership and technical and personal shortfalls impact readiness. They are aware how their leadership, technical, and personal shortfalls impact readiness, the mission, and their sailors. Again, just like back to what I said just right there, right? Like, I think when we think self-improvement, we think widening that lane. I think we should narrow that lane. If we're going to say self-improvement, we should narrow that lane and get to strictly that leadership, technical, and personal shortfalls and get those strong, get those going good, because it impacts mission and our sailors, right? So, okay, so maybe leave self-improvement in there, but be like, stop widening your lane and fucking narrow it. I like what I'm saying. I like what I'm saying. I like that better. Stop widening your fucking lane. They address their underperformance, and they seek and accept feedback to be self-aware. Self-awareness, very important, very important. So they may lead boldly with clarity, right? Again, So I think there's things that contradict, and maybe they don't in real life, but just like the way it's said to me, right? Like if you're telling me, I'm all about self-awareness. I like to think that I'm self-aware of where my shortfalls are at and how people perceive me and take me when they don't know me, when they first meet me, right? When people first meet me, people absolutely fucking hate me. They do. Like, he's loud, obnoxious, boisterous. I don't like him, blah, blah, blah. And then give it like 2 months and actually, like, listen to what I'm saying, or take on or sit down and break bread with me. And then people usually start to come around to be like, okay, all right, I get it. He's just big energy, right? He's just big energy, and maybe I can't take him all at once, but he's not completely wrong. He means well about things. He's just big energy. So I can only take some of that at a time, right? You can't spend 8 hours with me, but you could drop in and say what's up every now and then. Okay, that's cool. I probably don't like you for 8 hours either. Okay, but I'm self-aware of that. I know that's how people take me, right? I know how people perceive me and look at me, right? That's okay. It don't bother me none. Right? You figure out what you got to do to fucking work with me. Right? Because I already know what I got to do to work with you. Probably a lot faster than you still trying to figure me out, because you're letting personal get in the way of professional. Right? Like, I could be a professional. I only need you for this and that. The professional stuff. Personal stuff, we could work towards it maybe. Otherwise, I know which ones are in my corner that I could fuck with the personal shit with. You know what I'm saying? But when we get to so they made lead boldly, again, I'm all about it. All about it. I feel that. But it could be quickly misconstrued by others as like not humble, cocky. Look at them walking around on the deck plates, saying what's up to everybody, talking to everyone like that, right? Why is he always out there during clean stations, walking around everywhere, telling everyone good morning? He's fucking cocky. He ain't got no humility. Look at him. Look at her. Like, that shit really do come off like that real quick. You would not even be surprised. And you might be, but I'm sure you're not, right? If you're not surprised, then they're probably talking about you like that because you're not humble enough. Or you're not humble the way they want you to be humble. They, right? Not a pronoun, just a mythological creature. They, right? And then, so again, it's like contradicting me somewhat, because so many they motherfuckers out there, they don't want to see you being bold, right? But bold often works. Bold often attracts junior sailors. They're like, when you put all this shit together right here, and this is why I like it, because when you're being genuine, when you're being authentic, when you're being bold, when you have the self-awareness, and you have just enough humility and humbleness mixed in there with that, right? Junior sailors will fuck with you, right? They will, like, in so many ways, right? They'll be like, "Oh yeah, what up, chief?" Da 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 da, and and it's like they don't even have. You don't even have. You just, yo, what's up? Good morning, shipmate. You can hit them with a shipmate, and they'll just like, goddamn fucking chief, shipmate to me, and what's up, chief? What'd you do this? And you could get all the information you need from them by just saying, "Good morning, what's up? How you doing? How's the weekend? How's everything? How's the family? Blah blah blah." And it's all the genuineness, it's all the realness, right? And boom, they latch on. And I think that's what MCPON's trying to get a hold of here, right? But I just think there's so many people in this, we could call them boomers maybe, right? I'm a millennial. Maybe they're boomers. Maybe they're older millennials, Gen Xers, right? That when they read these things, like, they're thinking something different, or they think the way that young millennials, I'm young, but like I'm old in the teeth now when it comes to like this Navy shit, right? Like, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. Oh, and I'll kick another one to you. All right. Y'all might not like this, but it's fucking true. If you're too much of that and you don't look like everybody else, right? Or you don't look like those in the top section, right? You don't look like them, then that's a problem too. It's out there, right? I'm gonna say it because it's a real thing. Oh, look, they too flashy. Oh, look, they're loud. I'm not loud. I'm not yelling. I'm loud, but I'm not yelling. I just got a strong voice. You'll know if I'm yelling at you. Right? I'm not yelling. I just got a strong voice. I wasn't yelling. I was just saying, what's up? Hey. And then all the juniors said, look around. Who they talk, right? Like, come on, so that we could throw that out there too. But that's what MCPON asking for us to lead boldly. So if I'm leading boldly, I say, hey, that's just how I lead. I just lead boldly there, whoever, right? CMC, I'm just leading boldly. Then why are you really questioning me? Why are you questioning the way I do it? It's working, isn't it? You question it because I'm not they. I don't look like they. I don't sound like they. So I must not be humble like they. I must not be doing it like they do it. Right? That's what I think, at least. Anyways, you let me know what you think. You let me know how you feel about it. They take ownership and never abandon their responsibilities. All right. They honor, reward, and value each member of their team. That's okay. Again, nothing like it's my responsibility. Right? That's mine. That's on me. Right? Some shit, when we was on leave, some shit happened. Nothing crazy. Some reports were sent off. I was told they were sent off. I got hit up saying they never were received. Right? I could have called the LPO and be like, you didn't do it. They said you didn't do it. It doesn't matter if you said you did it or not. They're saying they don't have it and they've looked. Okay. Nah, have your leave. I'll come in off of my leave. I'll take care of it. Why? Because supply department is my responsibility. So that's back on me. Right? Okay. Easy day, right? Easy day. I could, again, it could have been like, oh, nope, that's your fault. Okay, but it's my fault too, right? That's one of those things that come with that being that chief part, right? You can't just look at your first name and like, oh, you fucked that up. You got to go do it. You could. I think that's going into the abandoning your responsibility part, right? All right. You could double check it beforehand. You didn't. I didn't. So now I'm going to fix it myself, right? And then I'm going to give you shit. That's it. Easy day. Honor, reward, and value. Yeah, that's easy. Come on, man. Like that's softball stuff right there, right? I think so. And then we get into the last paragraph here. Chiefs create opportunities and remove barriers for their sailors. Abso-fucking-lutely. All right. They are aware that every sailor is entrusted to their care. They shoulder this responsibility knowing that each sailor has hopes, dreams, and goals. They're aware of their struggles, challenges, and shortfalls. They work to bring out the best in their sailors, both personally and professionally. They know that behind every sailor is a family member, and trusting that their loved one is properly and safely led, trained, and treated with dignity and respect. They are aware of this trust and the heavy task placed on them. So I thought this one was, again, a good way to wrap it up, except he loses me at the end there a little bit. Again, I myself have these personal problems with some of the way he goes into some of this stuff relating to like this responsibility that we have to families and stuff, which you can totally disagree with me. I get it. I understand what he's trying to say. I just don't think it's the right way to say it or the right message to be trying to spin out there for the Chiefs or for the junior sailor, right? So, and I'll cover that for like behind every sailor is a family member. Okay. Trusting their loved one is properly and safely led. My mom and dad, we're not thinking about if I was being properly led. Okay. 19 years ago when I came in the Navy. Okay. They were not thinking about me being trained. What they were thinking about was I was being treated with dignity and respect. But coming from a military family that, older uncles, my dad and stuff that served in the 80s and 70s and uncle in Vietnam, like, also they like, excuse me. Like there was a lot of dignity and respect missing, right? So how times have changed since then is drastic, huge improvements, but they can't sit there and be like, oh yeah, they got a lot of those back in my day stories, right? Which you think someone old like me right now has a lot of back in my day old stories. Like imagine someone who served during the 80s, right? Like my father-in-law who served during the 80s and made chief in the 80s, right? To think about those people when you think about dignity and respect. So that's what I think I owe to mom and dad is that's what they're at the top, right? That their children, sons and daughters out here are being treated with dignity and respect, okay? Now, will I safely lead them? Will I train them? Yes. Duh. It's part of the job. But I just don't think I owe that to mom and dad, right? I owe that specifically only to the sailor. To mom and dad, I owe dignity and respect to make sure they're safe, right? When they're safe at work, okay? That's what I owe. And that's just, again, they will be led, they will be trained. I don't owe that to mom and dad, though. You know what I mean? Mom and dad ain't hitting me up. Like, for instance, on deployment, one of my sailors was talking to their mom, and then I made a joke, and they're like, "Oh, well, my mom was on the phone right here." I was like, "Put her on the phone with me then." And I talked to her, and I was cracking jokes and laughing and having a good time with Big Mama and everything. And you know, Big Mama wasn't like, "Hey, are you safely leading my kid? Right? Are you training my kid?" I feel like something's shaking. No, they're like, "Hey, be sure to get my daughter home safe. Okay, I miss her. All right." That's what they were like. And I was like, yeah, you know, we're doing our best out here. Everyone's working. Everyone's doing good things. We're, you know, keeping our head on a swivel. And, you know, I'll do my best. I'm not making promises. We're in the fucking war machine. Okay? People die. Maybe not right now as much as, you know, in the actual war. But shit can always go wrong. People can always take a stumble, tumble, fumble down a ladder well and fucking have the worst happen. Okay, so I'm not making those promises, but that's what that mom who I talked to was asking about. That's what they were saying to me. They weren't caring about being led and trained. They want their kid to be safe. And they're looking at the chief on the phone as like, keep them safe. I'll do my best. And by keeping them safe, I'm going to lead them. I'm going to train them. But that's not what mom or dad's fucking thinking about, okay? So that's why I have just a problem with this last little part right here. All right. The rest of it, like, they're aware that every sailor is entrusted to their care. Yeah, right? Like, again, well, I just had that conversation with that mom. Like, I get it. They showed her their responsibility to know that each sailor has hopes and dreams and goals. Every sailor doesn't have hopes and dreams and goals. Really, every sailor does. Like, not every sailor does. So many sailors come in just like, yeah, I'm like, maybe like a 15% this kind of sailor. Like, I just want to get the fuck away from home. Hopes? Shit, I hoped this motherfucker was going to take me around the world, and it's happening, so I'm not at home anymore, right? Dreams? I dreamt that I did not have to live fucking on a air-up mattress anymore next to cockroaches, so that's happening, so I'm pretty happy there, Chief. You know what I'm saying? And goals? You know how many sailors come into the Navy they don't even know what kind of goals they're supposed to have. Goals that sailors come in like straight brand new, right? They have goals of like having a cool car. They have goals of having cool shit, right? So many they don't have good goals. They have fun goals. Spend money, do shit, right? That's just real. So it's like, I know there's a responsibility to them, but like part of that responsibility to them is to teach them what the goals are they should be having in personal and professional lives, right? Two separate things, because he touches on that next, right? Because I'm aware of those struggles, challenges, and shortfalls, right? Bring out the best. So again, bring out the best in sailors, both personally and professionally, like, right? Like, we'll get to know them, and then I'm going to learn that you don't have goals. You're just hoping to get the fuck away from home. Okay, so now we got to establish these goals together, right? Like, okay, like, what would you like to do? Oh, I'd like to buy a car. Okay, you know, and you got to work through all of that. But so like that stuff, I don't mind. I think it's just that last part, right? The family member part. And you know, that family member also could just be the spouse or kids. And again, I don't think spouses are out there thinking like, I hope they're really getting good training today. Oh my God. I think they're thinking, I hope they fucking come home with all 10 toes, fingers, limbs, everything. Right? And he wraps it up and he says, Chiefs embrace this role. Right? And, you know, it's signed by James M. Honia or Honey? I always thought it was, I hear people say Honey, but I always thought it was Honia. It looks like Honia. that's it though. So going into so that covers that letter. This is supposed to be a discussion within the mess, at every mess around the fleet, right? It's supposed to be a discussion, a straight up, like, not a training topic. Like, everyone's supposed to sit down and talk about it, just kind of like we did today, right? So, let me know down in the comments what you thought about it. Jump over to the Facebook channel, jump on the YouTube. What do you think about this? Is it good? Is it bad? Did it hit? And especially if you're a junior person, like, let me know. Like, it's just interesting to me to get feedback about it. Yeah, I said overall, I thought it was pretty all right. I think it was a lot better than the call to action, right? It kind of kicked off better than that stuff. Going back to what the one listener watcher said, right? Advice for for selects, man, I don't like. I could get going down on that rabbit hole. Like, just I'm more of a person, like, I need to sit down with someone and talk to them and kind of get them to give me some feedback to see where that conversation is going to go. A lot of generic stuff that you get, like, here's generic chief giving generic shit. Have fun. It's your only season. You only get one, so you need to have fun. So back to me, fuck that. Okay. Not saying you don't need to do that stuff, but I fuck that. All right. You can start having fun when you start getting some fucking work done. The more work you get done, the more fun you will have. I think we push such a, oh no, we need to have fun, that motherfuckers get so focused on having fun and they don't get no fucking work done. That's in and out of the mess altogether. That's not just during CPO season. That's not just selects. That's chiefs. That's sailors. That's everyone. It's so much. It goes back to this question of, like, what drives what has to go, like, what drives, does high morale drive high work product or work output or work quality, or does high work quality drive high morale, right? Kind of like egg before chicken hatch or some shit like that. But it's like, for me, high work quality will build high morale, because when the work's getting done and it's being done right and there's not rework, that starts freeing up the time that allows you to have that high morale. If you're too busy fucking off, right, thinking you're having a good time, the work's not getting done, and that shit's going to come, and you're going to owe the man. You're going to fucking pay up, right? So it's a balance, of course, but, like, get more work done than have fun. That's the little bit I'd share with you right there. Get more, and it doesn't matter if you're a select, you're LPO, you're E4 Mafia, E5, works in your Super Mafia, right? So you're a chief and above. Like, you need to be getting more work done than you need to be having fun. When all that work is done, you can have fun. You cannot have all the fun and then be like, oh yeah, I got to go to work. Because when everyone's having fun and then you be like, hey, stop that shit, we got to go to work. Man, you never want to have fun, man. It's always fucking good. I don't want it. That's how that shit. All right, nah, fuck that then. Right? I'd rather give that shit out a little bit at a time. Hey, we're going to get this work done, and then we're going to go have fun. Until this work is done, we ain't nobody having no fucking fun. Right? So, if you're a select going through it, get more work done, then have fun. Right? If you think you're just going to go through the whole season, you're just going to have fun, and you're going to play games and do pranks and blah, blah, bullshit, and then none of the work is done, that's the exact kind of chief you're going to be. You're going to be the kind of chief that's more concerned and worried about laughing and trying to have a good time. And guess what's not done? Your sailors' evals aren't written. Right? Your own evals not written. The end-of-tour awards, they're not done. They're not turned into your department head on time. That's what starts happening. Your drill packages, they're not submitted. Your REs and drills that you did run, they're not updated into our CFOMs. Right? All that shit. Because you're too busy having fucking fun. So, have fun on your time. Don't have fun on our time. Don't have fun on your sailor's time. Get some fucking work done. Other than that, we're that right there. That's my advice to y'all for now. If y'all want some more, hit me up. We could talk offline or some shit, all right? For more information on how you can support the podcast, please visit us at anchor.fm/Bravo Zulu podcast. I don't even know if that shit works anymore. They changed it from anchor.fm to podcasters for Spotify or some shit. But hit me up on YouTube. Hit me up on Facebook. We all on Instagram. We everywhere. Leave comments, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. The information, views, and opinions expressed in this podcast solely of myself, Joshua Moore, and the individuals involved do not necessarily represent the DOD, the DON, or those of the respected institutions, organizations. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back for another one live Friday. Catch us.